back to my channel, a little bit about everything. Please hit the like button and leave a comment, and wait till the end of the video before you leave a comment. Okay. I've been making some chairs, and they've been taking a little longer than I expected to make, and I've been putting off buying a certain tool because it was cost prohibitive, but now I see a need for it. Okay, so I purchased a pocket jig machine, a Kreg 520 Pro pocket jig machine. It comes with a lot of parts. The clamp, it comes with two plier clamps, okay, to secure your work before you actually do anything. And it has a drill bit in it that has a dual function. It makes the hole and the pilot hole. Okay. There's more stuff in the box. Okay, I'll show you that later. On my previous video, I bought a rigid belt oscillating sander, and I wasn't sure whether I was going to keep that or not, but I had a list of things I wanted it to do, and it checked off all these parts. The only thing that it didn't check off, it wasn't industrial grade. I'm used to seeing bulky steel machines, right? This was smaller, but it's still. Next, let's move you guys over to the table so I can show you what I was doing before and what I will be doing in the future. Sorry about flashing the ceiling. It's just I was wondering if my thumb was on the microphone. Okay. So it comes with two face clamps, 2-inch face clamps, two of them, or maybe just one. Oh, it might be just one. Okay. And that's what a pocket hole looks like, or does. Okay. Now, these are sort of applications in which you can use it. The end of boards, side of boards, and other. Okay. So you clamp your workpiece in here, and you send your drill bits down there to make the pocket hole. And I'm just quickly going through this. Includes in the box the pocket hole jig 520 Pro, 6-inch easy set drill bit, stop collar, and 6-inch drive bit. Okay. Material thickness gauge, which is important. That's how you set your tool. And also includes a 2-inch clamp and 100 screws. That's sort of a nice thing to add, because I bought these. I get they're for soft wood, okay, 125 of them, and they're for outdoors. Okay, they're coated, but they're 18 bucks for 125 pieces. That's quite expensive in my book. But let's just see how they work versus my other method. And this is my other method. Okay, I was using this wood block, and I drilled a hole through it 85 degrees, or 15 from the other way, from the 90. Okay, and I would use these long bits. I would use this I think it's this one. I would use this bit, and at a certain depth I would get my pocket hole. And I'd use these collars to set my depth. What else is on here? Oh, one side of this jig was no good. The holes didn't come out even. So I was using this side of the jig. And I left myself some instructions here. 5 seconds. I would set this drill up here, length it, and put the stop at 5.5, and I would re-drill whichever one of these is smaller, 5/32 or 7/64 was in the workpiece that I was clamping to make sure that I was only removing the inner diameter of the thread, so I would have threading material, and I would send the drill through the other piece where the pocket hole was. I would drill it a little bit larger than the thread, so I wouldn't be hooking into the threads, threading into both pieces, only the one I wanted to pull towards the clamping one. Okay, so I was using this, so I would have to use the small one to make my larger hole through the workpiece, right? As soon as this drill makes it through, the tip leaves a point in the lumber, in the pocket hole. Then I would go chase it with this one, and then just barely nick the other piece, and then go in with the smaller drill bit to make the thread hole. This took a lot of time, so I decided to purchase this, and I'm going to try it out, and you're going to see what I see in real time. Okay, so after reading the instructions, they sent me two packs of pocket hole screws. It doesn't say whether these are for hard lumber or soft lumber. The difference between the two is the pitch on the thread. Soft lumber has a larger pitch, and the hard lumber has a smaller pitch on the thread. Okay. This is what they sent me. And like I previously said, this is what I bought, the outdoor version of it. It's coated with an epoxy. It's for soft plywoods. It's 2.5. Now, what I didn't know was they send you this little T Allen key, okay? And on that Allen key, you have 1/2 inch, 3/4, fuzzy spot, and 1.5 inch. Okay, you put your workpiece here, and you determine where you fall into. Okay, and since I bought this for two dissimilar materials, 1 1/4, which is a 5/4 lumber, and a 4/4, which is a 1 inch. Okay, I have to look at this joint, putting a spacer underneath of 1/4 inch under that 1 inch material to bring it to a level height. Okay, but I have to look at this as a 1 inch piece. This just happens to be larger, but this is what the piece, the thinner piece, is I'm going to be gauging my pocket hole on. So when I take my tool and I look at it, I fall into that fuzzy space. Okay? So it says here, if you fall into the fuzzy space range, okay, your material thickness falls into the fuzzy space range. Use the same setup technique as the 3/4 with a 1.5 inch screw. Okay. Now, if it fell in the 3/4 range, I would use the 1 1/4 screw. And this just so happens it's the only screws I don't have, the 1.5 inch. I gotta make a note of that. Okay. I was using 2-inch deck screws with my other method. I'm going to try this anyways to see if it works. I can only ruin the workpiece, not the tool. Okay. But I'm also going to try it out with the 2-inch, 2.5 inch, and the 1 1/4. Since this piece is thicker, it doesn't matter whether I poke on the bottom of this. I still have a 1/4 inch underneath because that piece is thicker. Okay, so I'm going to try all 3 methods. And I'm going to have to make a note to get 1.5 inch pocket jig holes outdoors. But at the store they only sold the 2.5. Go figure. Okay. So now, on this jig, I can clamp down the workpiece, quick release. If I clamp to a certain size, okay, I can tighten this down. See, lock, unlock. And also, I have to adjust the height of this tool to the thickness of material. Since it's not 1.5, I'm going to go to the nearest one, which is 3/4. So for now, I'm going to release the tool. I'm going to bring this. Oh, and you can twist your grip handle on this one, which is kind of handy. Which is handy anyway. So I'm just going to bring it down to 3/4, and it clicks into its spot. So now I've adjusted the height of the pocket hole. And on this jig, I'm going to bring the measuring tape. I have 2 holes that are if I go to 10, these are 9/16 apart, and these other ones are 7/8 apart. Okay. Now, these markings help you align where you want to put this tool. Okay. And the 2 holes that, like the 2 far spaced, if you start on this side, this is 1, 2, and 3. Okay. If your board width, this board width, in this case it's 2 3/4. So I would fall into the B category, which is 1 3. I would use 1 3. Okay. Okay, sorry for the pause there. I would try to center this in my piece, which I use a center mark over here. I can actually take my work piece to be more precise. and go here and say, okay, 2 3/4. What's half of 2 3/4? It's 1 3/8. Okay, so I'll go here and line that up with my center mark and just clamp down on it. Okay, and I can lock this up, and now when I release my trigger, it's going to release the workpiece. Or it's supposed to release my workpiece. Oh, release my workpiece. I pull this. It's just enough to release it. Then I can put the same thickness of piece and just clamp it down again. And it's going to hold at the same spot. Okay? But if I released it completely and pull the trigger, I'm out quite a far ways. So it saves on a little bit on time. It's a quick feature. So now my pistol grip is on there pretty nicely. It's firm. Now I'm going to take my special drill bit. I'm going to show you the drill bit. The tip of that is the guide, and the other portion of it is the drill hole. Okay? So I'm going to take my drill. Oh wait, I got to set my collet. On this drill bit, I don't know if you can see that. That's 1/2 inch, 3/4, and 1 1/2. That's where I would set my collet. And on the collet, they got this in reverse. How'd they do that? So I can't remove that. I'll be right back. So, like I was saying earlier, these are numbered 1/2 inch, 3/4, 1 1/2. So you just, as soon as you see the number you want, which in my case it's 3/4 of an inch, all I'm going to do is take the key and tighten this down. Doesn't have to be over tight, and that's locked. That's how deep that drill bit's going to end up in the work. Alright, so there's one piece that doesn't come in this kit, and it's the piece that you hook here, and you can fasten this to the table for repetitive work. This hold-on clamp it doesn't fit in here. You can't use it to hold on your tool. But in this case, I'm just going to drill my holes. Set this up in my drill. Set this to drill. Okay. And I want to go in the center hole to be in the center of my work. Okay. Or no, in the first hole. And I'm just going to drill this. And you're supposed to remove the tool while it's spinning. You don't put your drill in reverse. Okay. So I just did my first one. Now I'm going to do the second hole. And already, I'm saving time. All I got to do is quick release this puppy. There we go. and I've created 2 holes. Okay, and I don't know if you can see in there, but there's a 3/8 to 1/2 inch pilot hole already. It's not poking out of the work yet. Now, the way I was doing it before, I was making sure I was going through there. But this, using these screws, you don't have to. So the next step of the work would be holding my work down, which is this piece. Okay. And I used the wide portion of the clamp to hold both pieces, but in my case, these are too I can't do it with this because my work piece is too wide. My board is too wide. Okay, I can't reach both pieces at the same time. Unless it was like at the edge here. Okay, if I was doing it like this. So maybe I can somehow get this to work for me. Okay, so let's say I want to clamp this at the end of my work. I'll line it up with the edge. Get this on a little bit better. It's my first time, and it's not like a regular piece of work, right? It's a little trickier. I might have to use Betsy clamps to get this right. So now, they provide me with a bit, and it's a number 2 Robertson. So you Americans, sorry, but the Robertson won in this one. Okay, so I take my 1 1/4, which is supposed to be 1 1/2. I'm going to set my brake to a 6, my clutch. I don't want to send it through the work. Okay, and I go into my pocket hole, and there's one. And I'm also going to try this 2-inch deck screw to see if it pops out the other side, because these are cheaper. No offense to Kreg, but okay, so they both went in. This is cedar, the material, the intended material, and on there. Show you the since this is where I had the shim. Where's my finger? This is where I had the shim, right? And these are where I poked the holes, jig pocket holes. Those are both the screws. The bottom one is the silvery one, which is the indoor type. And that's a deck screw. Okay, it's not popping out on the other side. The deck screw is a 2-inch, and I'm going to remove the deck screw, and I'm going to try this outdoor 2 1/2 one from Kreg. and it is fairly longer. This one might poke through. And oh, it did not poke through. See that? It didn't poke through. So that, get it in the frame, it never poked through. The 2.5 is on the top, it's blue. Okay, so another test I would like to do is, I'm going to get me a Betsy clamp. Since this is going on a chair, I want to know what kind of force I can put on this before it actually pops off. What kind of abuse the chair can handle. So I've clamped this to the table. Okay. Now I'm going to try to yank this off. It's not coming off, but it clearly got looser. So let's say this was over time and my chair was loose. I can tighten this up again. Okay, and it's loose again. And it's tight. So this is going to work. If it was hardwood, the joint would even be better. But I noticed as I screw in deeper, I'm not aligned with the surface anymore. But in my case, it wouldn't matter. But this is a strong joint. I really yanked on it. So that's the 2-inch, 2.5, sorry, and that's the 1.25. That back in its respective boxes. So I'm making this review. I'm not endorsing, or I don't know if that's the correct word. I wasn't asked to make this video, this is the Kreg Pocket Jig 520 Pro, and these are the parts you would get with it: your drill bit, your collet, your stop collet, your Robertson extension, your tool, your thickness tool, and your collet key tool, something to clamp your work down with, and the Kreg tool. In my opinion, it's worth buying. Between this and the old way I was doing things, I'm saving about anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes a hole of tinkering just to get the holes aligned and everything just right. And time is money, right? So thumbs up on the Kreg tool, the 520 Pro Pocket Jig set.